All right, so we're here today to talk about shop safety guidelines, basically how to run the tools in the shop safely. The first rule of 3D art and sculpture is that everything takes longer than you think it should. The second rule is that even when you know the first rule, it still takes longer. Whenever we are in the workshop, you will need to wear eye protection. The maximum eye protection is a face shield. This also has a little helmet on top, and they're adjustable in the back for different size heads. You put that on like this, tighten it, and then your whole face is covered. Just remember, if you have it flipped up like this, that you have to put it back down when you're operating the tools. All right, we also have goggles available for your use. These are great because they fit over your eyeglasses, just like that, and they protect things from getting into your eyes. So eyeglasses offer the least amount of protection, but there are some tools where it's adequate just to have eyeglasses, but they must have these little flippers on the side to keep things from getting into your eyes. The ones I have are prescription safety glasses, which means they have safety lenses. They're shatter resistant. And still, there are occasions where I'll need both of these and the face shield. Anytime you're using power tools in the shop, you must have these on. And if you're walking around where other people are using power tools, you should still be having your eyes covered. All right, point number 2. All work done in the shop must have the instructor or the lab technician's approval. Number 3, you need to report all accidents. Number 4, and this is good anytime, when lifting heavy objects, keep your back straight and lift with your legs and get help if needed. 5, report all damage or breakage to the tools. This is not so you can get in trouble and we're not going to scold you or make you pay for it, but we do need to know for everyone's safety if the tool is not working properly. 6, keep the floor clear of tools and materials. That might seem obvious, but sometimes when you're in the middle of a project, you're not thinking about that. And remember, you're not alone in the shop. Other people are walking around. 7, use the proper tool for the job. If you don't know, just ask. 8, if you have eyeglasses, wear them. Not just because you can't see, but after a while, if you didn't have them on, you could get eye strain, and that could be a problem. Number 9, notify the instructor or the technician if anyone is violating safety instructions. It's best not to confront that person themselves unless you see that they're in immediate danger. It's better for us to come and instruct them and give them the proper directions. Number 10, mark materials and projects with your name. You might not think that belongs in safety instructions, but if someone finds you using their materials, you could be in an unsafe position. Number 11, store work out of the way when not working on it. Number 12, adhere to the school's policy, which can also be found on the school's website. No alcohol, no drugs, no pets, and use only low odor solvents. Number 13, never work in the shop when you're impaired, for example, on medication, drunk, or overtired. If you've been studying all night for that exam, this is maybe not the time to come and work in the shop. Number 14, have the instructor work with you when you're using a tool that you haven't used before. Number 15, no open-toed shoes or sandals, no flip-flops, things like that. Wear sturdy shoes that are comfortable for standing. I myself prefer to use steel-toed boots, but not everyone needs that. 16, clean up. So clean up means sweep off the power tool. So we have little brooms that are provided for doing that, and also large brooms. We have also shop vacs. We have small brooms, large brooms, all so forth. You want to clean off the floor, the table, the tool itself, and of course put all the tools away so they'll be there for the next person. So this is an example of the kinds of things that should not be done inside the classroom. Using paint thinners, which are very high fume producing solvents, using any oil or solvent-based finishes, and none of these things should be left in the classroom after you've finished applying them to your workpiece. Gloves that contain these things should not be left in the classroom either. And if you're using something that's highly flammable, you need to put it in a bucket of water and soak it before you can throw it into the garbage, or it can somewhat spontaneously catch fire. All right, so that covers our first list. There's another list now which we have, which is for all power tools. All right, so for all power tools, eye protection is a must. Some kind of eye protection, whether it's safety glasses, goggles, or the face shield, must be worn. The face shield, of course, is preferred, especially when using stationary power tools or any kind of grinders or things that naturally just throw off a lot of material. Number 2, don't wear loose, dangling clothing or jewelry. So anything that's hanging and dangling, that has to be put away. And you want to tuck in your shirts so they don't get stuck in the machinery. If you have long hair, you have to tie it back, so you might want to keep some hair ties in with your other safety equipment. 4, only the operator may start and stop a machine, and after it is turned off, stand by it until it stops. So just to make sure someone else doesn't accidentally walk into it. 5, avoid distracting people using machines, and do not allow yourself to be distracted. So if I'm turned around here working with this saw, and you holler at me, I'm going to turn around and look towards you. It's very important that if you're the person using the machine that you don't do that, that you keep your eyes focused on wherever your hands are, and that if you see somebody using a machine, you wait until they're finished to try to contact them and get their attention. One exception to this is if you see that person is about to injure themselves and you know for sure that if they don't stop, they're going to get hurt. Then you can distract them and let them know that. All right, number 6, report machines making unusual sounds or out of adjustment. Well, you might not know what that is, but if you're using a machine and all of a sudden it starts screeching really loudly or vibrating or banging a lot, that's probably not good. And definitely if you see smoke coming out, probably you should turn that off and let someone know. All right, 7, remove protruding nails from boards. We do not recommend that people bring in used and salvaged lumber to our shop because there are a lot of tools that have very expensive saw blades, and if there's a nail in there that you didn't know about, it can ruin and damage the blade. We'll talk more about that later. But if you have been working on something and you've put some nails in, you must take them all back out before you take that piece of wood or whatever material it is back to a power saw. All right, number 8, do not cut any treated wood. We'll talk about what that looks like later, but treated wood basically is a wood that has been infused with poison. It's meant for outdoor use to keep bugs and things away from it and to keep it from rotting. So because it has this poison inside, we don't recommend using it in a shop where there's other people around because the dust becomes airborne and people could breathe that poisonous dust. Number 9, don't overreach. So that means try to keep yourself steady, keep proper footing and balance at all times. It's a bad idea to fall while using a power tool. Number 10, don't force the workpiece through the blade. Let the blade do the cutting. They all kind of have their speed at which they are comfortable working, and you kind of get to know that and get a feel for it. If you're forcing it, one sign of that is often that you see some smoke happening. All right. Let the blade or drill reach full speed before contacting the workpiece. Most of the time, we want to turn the machinery on and then feed the material into it. There are a few exceptions to that, but when you have a machine like that, you want to let it come up to full speed before you do any work. Number 12, round stock, such as dowels, must be clamped in a special jig. Special jigs are basically just holding devices, and there are all different ones for different kinds of applications. So depending on what you're doing, if you're having a little trouble positioning something, there may be a jig already available, so don't be hesitant to ask about it. Don't wear gloves when using saws, sanders, or most other power tools. The reason for that is the same reason why we don't have loose clothing or long hair or dangling jewelry, and that is because almost everything that we have in the shop has a blade that spins. If it spins and you throw something like dangling thing into it, it tends to wrap around. In the case of a glove, if I stick my hand into a machine and I have a glove on, that glove can catch in there and pull my hand directly into the saw blade where I don't want it to be. Number 14, use hearing protection and dust mask when needed. We have dust masks available and hearing protection. If you're going to be doing a lot of things that involve dust mask and breathing in a lot of dust, you probably want to get a better dust mask of your own and mark it with your name or your initials so everyone knows which one is yours. All right, that pretty much covers all of the power tool safety.